They told him to keep driving. They told him it wasn't his problem. But the moment he saw a one-legged girl standing alone in the freezing rain, leaning on splintered crutches as cars sped past her like she didn't exist, something inside his heart refused to let him go. And what he discovered about her that night would shatter everything he believed about loss. Fate and the meaning of family. He had already lost everything once. He wasn't prepared to lose his heart again that night on the empty road. The rain came down like a curtain of needles, blurring the windshield of Daniel Harper's old pickup truck. It was almost midnight, and the world outside looked as exhausted as he felt. Being a single father had carved lines into his face that no one his age should carry. Ever since his wife, Emily, passed away 3 years ago, it had been just him and his 7-year-old son, Noah. Every day was a balancing act between grief and responsibility, between pretending to be strong and quietly breaking in the dark. Daniel had just finished a late shift at the auto repair shop. The bills were piling up again. Noah needed new glasses. The landlord had hinted about raising rent. Life didn't pause for heartbreak. He almost missed her. At first, she looked like a shadow near the bus stop bench, a thin figure trembling in the rain. But as his headlights passed over her, Daniel saw the crutches. He saw the soaked pink shirt clinging to her frame. He saw the empty space where her right leg should have been, and he saw fear. She wasn't moving. She wasn't trying to wave anyone down. She just stood there as if she had accepted that no one would stop. Daniel's hands tightened on the steering wheel. He drove 20 more feet before his conscience screamed louder than his fear. This isn't your responsibility, his mind argued. What if it's trouble? What if someone's setting you up? But another voice, the one that still whispered Emily's kindness into his soul, said, what if she were Noah? He slammed on the brakes. The truck fishtailed slightly as he reversed back toward her. When he rolled down the window, rain splashed onto his face. Hey, he called gently. Are you okay? She flinched at the sound of his voice. Up close, he saw she couldn't have been more than 14. Her hair stuck to her cheeks. Her lips were pale. I'm fine, she said automatically, the kind of answer people give when they're anything but fine. You're not fine, Daniel replied softly. Where's your family? She hesitated too long. Ave left. The words hung in the air between them, heavier than the storm. Daniel stepped out of the truck despite the rain. Left where? Her fingers tightened around her crutches. They said they'd come back, but that was yesterday. Daniel's chest tightened. No bag, no phone, no jacket. Just a girl abandoned in the cold. What's your name? He asked. Lily. Okay, Lily. I'm Daniel. I've got a warm truck and dry clothes at home. I have a son about your age. You can stay until we figure this out. Her eyes filled with suspicion and hope battling each other. Why? Daniel swallowed. He didn't have a heroic answer. Because someone should. There was a long silence. Cars continued to pass, spraying water across the pavement. Not one slowed down. Finally, Lily nodded. Helping her into the truck was harder than Daniel expected. She was light, too light, like she hadn't eaten properly in days. When she settled into the passenger seat, she winced as she adjusted her crutches. Does it hurt? He asked. It always hurts, she replied quietly. The drive home felt different. The storm hadn't stopped, but something inside Daniel had shifted. He wasn't just driving through rain anymore. He was carrying someone's entire world beside him. When they reached his small rented house, Noah was asleep on the couch with the TV flickering blue light across his face. Daniel carried him to bed, then found one of Emily's old oversized sweaters and handed it to Lily. She stared at the sweater for a long moment before putting it on. It swallowed her frame. That night, as Daniel lay awake listening to the soft creak of the house, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was not an accident. That something about Lily's presence had stepped into his life with purpose. He just didn't know yet what that purpose was. The next morning, the truth about why Lily had been abandoned would force Daniel to choose between fear and love, and only one of those choices would change all their lives forever. Daniel noticed the dark circles under her eyes as she sat at the kitchen table the next morning, staring at the bowl of cereal like it might disappear. Noah peeked around the corner, curious. Who is she? He whispered. Her name's Lily, Daniel said. She's staying with us for a little while. Noah approached cautiously, then smiled. Cool crutches. Lily blinked in surprise. They're not cool, she said softly. They look like superhero gear, Noah insisted. I like you survived something big. For the first time, Daniel saw Lily's expression shift, just slightly, from guarded to confused. After breakfast, Daniel made some calls. There were no missing persons reports matching Lily's description. No emergency contacts. When he gently asked her about her parents, she hesitated. They're not bad people, she said quickly. They're just tired. Tired? Daniel repeated. Of hospitals, of bills, of me. The story came slowly in fragments. Lily had lost her leg in a car accident 2 years ago. A drunk driver, multiple surgeries, endless medical debt. Her father lost his job trying to care for her. Her mother worked double shifts. Arguments turned into silence. Silence turned into distance. They said I deserved better, Lily whispered. They said someone else could give me a better life. Daniel felt anger rising, but he kept his voice steady. So they left you in the rain? They said they were going to get gas. Noah, who had been listening from the hallway, stepped forward. It's stupid, he said with the brutal honesty of a child. You don't leave people you love in the rain. Lily's eyes filled with tears she had clearly trained herself not to shed. Daniel looked at her and saw more than a girl missing a leg. He saw someone who believed she was a burden. That hit too close to home. After Emily died, Daniel had blamed himself for months. For not noticing symptoms earlier, for not insisting on different doctors, for surviving when she didn't. He had felt like a failure, like he wasn't enough. And now, here was this girl who thought she wasn't enough simply because she required care. That afternoon, Daniel took Lily to the local clinic to check the condition of her prosthetic socket. It was worn and poorly fitted. The nurse frowned. She needs a new one, she said. This is causing skin damage. Daniel knew what that meant. Money he didn't have. That night, after the kids went to bed, Daniel sat at the kitchen table with a stack of bills. He could report Lily to Child Services. It would be the logical thing, the safe thing. But the thought of her back in some overcrowded system, feeling unwanted again, twisted his stomach. He walked into the hallway and saw Lily asleep on the couch, her crutches leaning beside her like silent guards. Noah had fallen asleep next to her, one small hand resting on her arm. They looked like siblings. Daniel made his decision. The next weeks were not easy. He picked up extra shifts. Sold his old guitar, posted online asking for help with prosthetic costs. Neighbors he barely knew dropped off meals. The mechanic shop ran a small fundraiser. Even Noah offered his piggy bank. You said she's not a burden, Noah told him, so we help. When Lily received her new prosthetic, fitted properly for the first time in years, she stood taller. Not just physically, emotionally. She took her first steady steps across the clinic floor, tears streaming down her face. I forgot what it felt like not to hurt, she whispered. Daniel blinked back his own tears, but the truth that stunned him came a month later. There was a knock on the door. A man and woman stood outside, Lily's parents. They looked thinner, older, broken. We came back, her mother said, voice shaking. We made the worst mistake of our lives. Lily froze behind Daniel. Her father stepped forward. We thought someone stronger could give her what we couldn't. Daniel looked at them for a long moment. He saw shame, regret, desperation. He turned to Lily. What do you want? The question itself surprised her. No one had asked her that before. She looked at her parents, then at Daniel, then at Noah. I want them to try, she said. But I don't want to lose this either. Daniel nodded slowly. Family, he realized, isn't always about blood. It's about who stays, who fights, who chooses you even when it's hard. In the end, they worked out something none of them expected. Lily's parents moved closer. They entered counseling. They rebuilt trust slowly. Daniel remained in Lily's life, not as a replacement father, but as something just as powerful. Proof that she was worth stopping for. Months later, on a clear evening with no rain in sight, Lily stood at the same bus stop where she had once been abandoned. But this time, she wasn't alone. Daniel and Noah stood beside her as she practiced walking without crutches for short stretches. She stumbled once, then caught herself. Daniel's heart pounded, not with fear but pride. See? Noah grinned. A superhero. Lily laughed, a full, bright sound that seemed to wash away the memory of that stormy night. Daniel realized something then. Saving her hadn't just changed Lily's life. It had saved him too, because sometimes the people we rescue from the rain are the same ones who pull us out of our own storms. And all it takes to change a life, to change many lives is the courage to stop the car, step into the rain, and say, "I, you matter."